Hi and welcome to the first very episode of Let Loose with Moose, and I'm just here to chat with some known figures in CT, and I'm very honored to have Hoeem join me on today's episode. Hoeem, please introduce yourself.
Hello, so I'm Hoeem, the pseudo anonymous character that is a pirate on crypto Twitter, and I like to see myself as a educator in the space, producing valuable content for people to learn and bring them from hopefully beginner in the crypto to expert.
Very nice. You can share with us how you got started in crypto.
Yeah, for sure. So my first interaction with crypto was when I used Bitcoin early 2017 to make a purchase which was worth around $300. I was purchased on the dark web, and that was worth around zero point 0.4 Bitcoin then. I thought that's crazy. $300 is only going to give me zero point 0.4 Bitcoin. I just couldn't understand as to why I wouldn't even get at least one Bitcoin for $300. I thought that's ridiculously expensive. And in retrospect, how naive that was, because I went on the sidelines with my purchase with no Bitcoin left, and saw Bitcoin go on that crazy rally where it was reaching all-time highs through that next year. I was trying to understand what actually was the value of it. I couldn't wrap my head around it. And then I got back into crypto following the COVID crash in 2020. I started getting into the tech sector and swing trading tech growth stocks. But as a retail trader, I was often losing money. I just saw a lot of people making, good moves and things coming up on Twitter around cryptocurrency. And I thought, maybe it's time to look back into it after that hiatus from the first time I ever used it. So I needed to focus and re-educate myself as a investor into where the biggest breakthroughs in technology are, and that's blockchain technology for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's reinforcing how we can transact with each other and attribute value to the world around us, and you can see really how the traditional finance is over functional, how it's a little bit outdated with making transfers across the globe, even like just sending money to friends or whatever. You can see how it's outdated and needs transformational change. And that's where I began playing around with crypto. I started buying things on Binance, on the central exchange, doing different things. Then I figured out how to actually get it off into being self custody. One of the very first ones I was lucky enough to be involved with because of the people that I was following on Twitter was actually Phantom Blockchain, where I started then learning about the DeFi capabilities and what decentralized finance was. Uh, yeah, and just playing around, I guess, to begin with.
Did you regret it, like the 2017 Bitcoin moment?
Yeah. I think it was a little bit of coke. I just sort of tried to say, it's a scam. It's a scam.
Right, but I think we have a lot of similar points, right? Like for myself, so Phantom was the first chain I went on for DeFi at that point. So and also I started stocks, right? Also in tech stocks, growth stocks like yourself as well. So a lot of
that,
similar points, I guess, that we didn't know of before that. Right.
we've come off.
Right. And my next question for you actually is, how did you end up becoming like an trader, on Twitter? Like, did you create the account with intention of growing it to a certain milestone from the start, or like what? Because right now,
Yeah,
I'm looking at your page right now, you're at about 33,000 followers.
yeah. So my initial goal with Twitter was actually just to learn and share my learning process. I realised, this information that I'm searching for, other people are searching for. So I started to actually just write what I was learning and share it. When I was sharing it, I saw quite quickly how important that information was that I'd learned to actually share it to others, and pick up traction, faster than I actually thought it would do. So I think my first thread that I wrote was in January 2022, around then, just or it might have been December 21.
Mm-hmm.
One of my first threads on Twitter, crypto Twitter, and I think I had like 20,000 impressions on it. I thought, wow,
Wow.
I mean that's crazy. I just put my first thing out there, something I was trying to learn. I've just written it down and distilled it into digestible chunks of information and put it out there, and people ate it up. And I feel, in my job role I work as a physiotherapist, Moose. In my job role, I'm breaking down musculoskeletal conditions, neurological conditions, and respiratory conditions to patients so that they can understand it in layman's terms. And I think distilling that information is kind of the same thing that I'm doing in cryptocurrency. It's quite confusing for someone that's brand new to the space. So I have no prior experience with social media or growing a social media account, and I've been learning as I go. And I kind of feel, I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I'd say I'm pretty well versed in creating content and bringing value. And I think those good communication skills are critical to like accomplishing this. Like taking a subject that I find complicated, learning it, and finding a way to explain it to myself.
Mm-hmm.
I can then transfer that knowledge into content for others. And I feel a big responsibility in doing so by giving valuable content from an unbiased, um, reasoned and well researched voice.
Right. And I think a lot of the other educators in the space have very similar starting intentions as you, right? To try and understand things for themselves and then break it down for themselves and just publishing it out and happen to gain traction along the way. So do you have like an end goal to achieve for your account, like maybe let's say end of this year?
Okay, yeah. So there's no like end goal. I think it's
Uh-huh.
continuous.
Like a
Uh,
milestone that you want to hit?
yeah. I've got always got small goals that I'm setting myself. But if I can just focus on continuous growth, giving people value, and building one of the most educated communities on crypto Twitter, I think these almost vanity goals, I guess. I don't know in milestones where I want to reach certain
Mm-hmm.
followers. One of my goals is to have 100,000 followers on crypto Twitter by the end of 2023. That's one of my goals. The one prior to that was to have 10,000 by the end of 2022, and I managed to get that in December or October, something like that, in last year. So it came a little bit sooner. And yeah, so that goal is to have 100,000 followers. And my current goal is just to also create a Discord and newsletter around the 7C community. So I've got a pirate NFT collection that's sort of at the heart of that. And you have the 7C pirate crew, the 7C chat, and the 7C newsletter, where I hope to have the ability to continue spreading education and value to users in different avenues in my
Nice.
company.
Right. I think 100K is definitely doable for you, right? It's not too far away given the amount of value that you provide to your readers, and you've been very consistent with all your posting. And yeah, maybe you want to share a bit more about the community that you're building and maybe specifically the 7C collection.
Yeah, sure. So the 7C Pirate Crew is a NFT collection that lives on the Phantom blockchain. Uh, Started, and there's also like different pirate collections that live on there. So we had the Pixel Pirates to begin with, and they were pixelated, generative pirate collection that people minted, and each one had one CLQDR in it, which is a liquid auto compounding version of Liquid Driver's XLQDR. So over time, the rewards go back into the token itself, and obviously it doesn't reflect price necessarily because Liquid Driver can go up and down. but in theory, like it grows. The actual token should grow in value over time, depending on the price or that LQDR achieves. So, I didn't want to do a NFT collection where users just mint a picture. I wanted to have a little bit more value inside it. So that's been continuing to obviously grow within the actual NFT itself over time. That was Pixel Pirates, which had one CLQDR inside, and then I had, if you collected a certain amount of those Pixel Pirates, you were then airdropped a new collection, a treasure piece from the new collection called Pirate Life. And Pirate Life is the current collection that's still minting now. And each one of those has two CLQDR tokens inside and mint for 67 FTM. And with those, there are community giveaways like the marble races. There's also the opportunity to get your hands on two airdrops for collecting one Pirate Life NFT from each batch, and you can find more information on those batches on the 7C Pirate Twitter account. That you'll be getting two airdrops once that collection is minted out. And then there's also like story pieces in that collection, and those story pieces are unique to each batch that gets released. And the more story pieces you have, I've got some of the most renowned FTM artists to actually create one of one Pirate Life NFTs, like artists that I was fanboying when I first came onto the Phantom Network, like Clocky Rocky, Clockworky, yeah, who's created like a one of one, and so many others, Scorpio Black, some different incredible artists that's created these one of one NFTs. So you can get even a third airdrop if you're able to get those special story pieces.
Nice, very interesting. How many batches are in total again?
There's 6 batches, and each one has 275 NFTs in it. I mint probably between 60 and 90 from each batch myself to actually do as giveaways for the community.
Nice.
So yeah.
All right. But is there any particular reason why you chose like CLQDR to be in that NFT?
Yes, Liquid Driver is a project that I hold close to my heart. It's one of the first DeFi projects I got involved in.
Nice.
And as Liquid Driver continues to increase its revenue streams into and share that with XLQDR holders, I knew that I would actually have like a token that's gonna one day increase. I'm betting on the Liquid Driver team, who I trust dearly to continue to perform and grow as they are. And they're going cross chain now. I think they're on Alras Network and Arbitrum and Binance Smart Chain,
Right.
and continue
Yeah.
doing it, getting revenue streams as providing the liquidity as a service and other potential revenue streams that's going to go straight back into XLQDR holders' pockets. And being a CLQDR holder, that's reflected in the increase in that token's price compared to LQDR. So I think it's at, around 1.5. Don't quote me. I think it's around 1.5 CLQDR value to LQDR value right now, around that.
Right. Yeah. I think for a lot of users who came in around the same time as us, like Liquid Driver was one of the first few protocols that they will have interacted with, right? And now that we got your introduction and your shilling of your collection out of the way, let's dig into something like pick a brain, right? So we are a lot in the crypto space, we're both in the DeFi space. So like what kind of things do you look out for in DeFi? Like do you look for
Yeah.
narratives, yields, or just tell me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So I think for me, I look at composability, real revenue streams, and that revenue share to be given out as yield for those users. And that's the main things for me. I think I've got kind of been burnt in the past from farming tokens, as probably we all have. I want real revenue, and you can see that on Token Terminal, who's producing good revenue shares. Then you can investigate that token a little bit further and to see how they're actually distributing it. Like, is that revenue going in just into their DAO, or is it actually being given out to users in terms of yield? Narratives. narratives that's big right now, isn't it? It's very extreme. Well, I mean, it always has been. There's always a narrative around the
Right.
corner. Kind of like a little bit of a cringy word. It's kind of got that connotation of being really PvP, player versus player,
Uh-huh.
and it seems only crypto users. There's no real new retail users in the space at the moment. We know it's sort of crypto users sort of playing each other at the moment. But that being said, there's opportunity and money to be made if you're able to play it right. But it is PvP. No, it is only us playing it right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, yeah, and in regards to community, uh, obviously looking for community in DeFi or in anything, it revolves around that project building trust in a trustless space, and that's really difficult. And that comes from providing constant good like rapport with the community, building, giving value, networking as well. Like that can even be with us. So even from like a crypto Twitter standpoint, providing good content, giving value, networking with the community, and making friends is kind of how you can build a good community around you. So you know, good practice is the main thing. Uh, yeah, yeah, man.
Right, all right. Super interesting to actually hear your thoughts for the very first time, right? I don't think anyone has heard this from you, right? Have you shared this publicly before? I don't remember.
No,
Right.
I
Very
think I
interesting.
might be bits similar. I've done a Phantom Spotlight. It's almost a year ago. And there's some things obviously
Ah, right.
similar.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There'll
All
be
right.
something. But yeah,
So like once you identify like certain things, so I believe all these are part of your framework or like things that start getting you into looking into the projects, right? Do you have like
yeah.
a clear research process or framework that you can share with us of how you do your research?
Yeah. So my was that sort of my go-to now is I like Token Terminal for looking for revenue streams. I like DeFi Llama at looking at liquidity flowing and how many stable coins are coming into, even if it's into a certain blockchain. If there's a lot of stable coins coming into that blockchain, then what's going to be the protocol to unlock it and what's going to get that liquidity. There's going to be growth there. So projects in that area might be and around that area might be ones of interest. And then also one that I really like is bubble maps. I've done a few for some bubble maps where you can actually quite quickly see it might be all good that you've got a token that's got great revenue, it's got a nice revenue share, and then you look into their bubble maps, and it is held by like 30% of the token supply, circulating token supply is held by a whale spread across different wallets. And you're like, oh, maybe I'll stay away from that one. But yeah, you can see. So yeah, that's kind of how I just sort of do. Also, Twitter is actually really useful. If you
Right.
find in this, you can even search hashtags on Twitter and have a look into like certain protocols. There's great people making great content all the time on all sorts of protocols, and you can get at least a baseline from there.
Like yourself,
Uh, yeah. Come to me, follow me.
huh? But yeah, definitely I agree with what you just mentioned. There are a lot of people on Twitter, right? And that's also one of the reasons of why I decided to start doing this, just to get to know people a little bit better, that like share information that might not have been shared on their Twitter before, maybe some personal stuff like what you mentioned. Um, and yeah, maybe we can move on to the next section. Like,
Hmm.
what are your thoughts about the market for the rest of the year? Or like, where do you see
Yeah,
us going, right? Because we have been through a very rough 2022, right? We have like Luna, we had FTX, and then
yeah,
we were doing a little bit better for the start of the year, and now we are hearing, like, as of recording, we are doing this on the beginning of March, right? We are hearing some not so good stuff as well. What are your
yeah,
thoughts?
yeah. So yeah, around I think the FTX saga is probably like the worst thing that could have ever happened to crypto. One of the worst things. A lot of people like put a lot of trust into Sam Bankman-Fried and that exploding and people losing their funds. I genuinely thought. the fallout from that would destroy prices a lot further than what it did. So I was cautiously optimistic, seeing how it dipped and got quickly bought up by obviously someone buying, some big players are buying. Yeah, so I was cautiously optimistic around then, despite thinking about the potential fallout that might come from it, which you might see, but kind of all the liquidity kind of locked up at the moment to go through bankruptcy procedures. But yeah, and then obviously now we've had 2 months of upward trajectory and real growth in the market again, and I feel like we're going to be in a period of chop. I do feel personally. I think you don't know, do you? 100%. But I feel like the bottom that FTX was the bottom, and we come out of that on a monthly time frame, reclaimed it. So that's bullish on a high time frame for me long term. But that doesn't mean we won't be chopping and doing crazy price swings and traders losing money left, right, and centre because of it. So yeah, I'm optimistic about the future for 2023 and 2024. I mean, inflation's coming down, and
Is it?
yeah, not yeah, it's coming. It's coming down. I think so. I think they're doing a good job. It's not as much as they wanted to with the last reading, but it is. They're sounding quite dovish. I like the sound of it, and I feel that we'll be continuing a deflationary process. Hopefully, and I think that's going to sort of come up, and we're going to sort of start to get a little bit of clear air when we're building up to the Bitcoin halving, and I feel like that's quite bullish for the end of 23, going into the first quarter of 24.
Right.
So yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic, but that doesn't mean we won't hit. We might hit 25k like we just done, come down to 20, go up to maybe 32, and then come back down to 20. I don't know. You can lose a lot of money, but yeah,
Right. I mean,
yeah,
my only main takeaway from all the stuff that you just rambled on for the past 3 minutes was that Hoeem thinks that the bottom is in. Right.
yeah. Bottom in.
Yeah, that was my main takeaway. Right.
Yeah.
But are there any interesting projects that maybe you're eyeing recently that you can share with
Uh,
us? Any, or maybe just something interesting that you're looking into right now? Anything?
yeah, in all honesty, I've just been a Ethereum maxi during the later stages of 2022 and beginning of 2023. I've been trying to get as much Ethereum as I can. Um, I'm looking into different projects all the time, and talks with different projects, able to get on calls with different people. But I don't really want to just, I don't want to shill like certain projects
Right.
just because they're obviously like great projects such as the Bike Masons, Liquid Driver, Beethoven with their incredible balancer tech that they're implementing with their first relic farm that's just been dropped. So that's cool. Yeah, there's lots of exciting developments occurring across the space, and that's kind of my Phantom Maxi coming out there with those Phantom native projects. But yeah, for sure. And I'm looking at Solidly as like a big play at the moment. It's real solidly season where that's heating up and we've seen good success
Oh,
books that have been coming out and lots of liquidity being pulled in there and lots of revenue from it. So that's a nice one to play.
Now I have a question. Have you been playing with those solidly forks that have been popping up recently?
Have I been playing with them? I've got some Fina that I've been looking at. I looked at into Liz on Arbitrum, and I'm looking closely at Satting Exchange releasing on Polygon, so
Right.
and
I mean,
what might go on that chain. That's like a good one as well.
yeah, I think Tina did a great job, right? I mean, but yeah, the others that you mentioned have been pretty
Yeah,
new, I would say, compared to Tina. And of course, the projects you mentioned earlier, right? Like Bike Masons, they have a lot going around with like um, Ethos Reserve and all, and When Grain since forever. Liquid Driver
yeah,
has been expanding as well, and yeah, like Beethoven, like mentioned, right? Because they had their reliquary farms just released not too long ago as well. But yeah, I think that
yeah,
is pretty interesting to hear your thoughts, right? And you usually
yeah. And I think
don't share all this on your Twitter, right? But
no,
yeah,
no,
it's
no.
very
Look,
interesting. I mean, who knows? Maybe Hoeem tweets about educational stuff on Twitter, but then goes on to ape into a shitcoin that just launched 5 minutes ago,
yeah,
right after the thread, right?
yeah. But too much of a audience to be just shilling like low
No,
cats. I think there comes a point where you have to hold a little bit of responsibility with your crypto Twitter account.
yeah, definitely.
Um, but you know that won't stop me from making like well researched pieces on different things and leaving people to decide it on themselves. But straight up shilling, I try to avoid. But you can definitely see with the solidly like thoughts, you can see who the professional teams are quite easily with their UI and their bugs on their system. You can see it; it's clear as day that how smooth Velo is and how smooth um, Fina is in comparison to some of the other ones that's been spinning up. But yes, yeah,
Right. I mean, there has been so many popping up recently, and so many new sales, new projects as well. It's almost like it's shitcoin season again, right? I have seen
yeah,
a lot of shitcoins do pretty well recently as well. Not sure if
yeah,
you were in any of them, but yeah, I mean, shitcoin season is back. Maybe I don't know how
yeah,
long it will last. Maybe not for long, but it was back for a bit. I would say.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. There's
Mm.
money to be made.
Right.
Liquid shitcoins for sure.
Definitely. I mean, we were hearing about like what gambling narrative just a few weeks ago, and the Chinese coin narrative.
Yeah, crazy. I think I think price go up, narrative made. And
Right.
that's kind.
But it was quite
You know,
funny, yeah, to see Twitter like everyone posting in Chinese for a few days. I think it has
y-
died down now, but it was pretty funny.
yeah, crazy,
Right.
crazy. You know, you got people in China probably with their American American narrative and probably researching what the Americans are getting into. Or but yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can go into something more personal now, right? Now that we heard about your crypto side of things, like maybe you can
Yeah,
describe your typical day. Like you mentioned, you are a physiotherapist as a day job, right? Maybe you can describe your
yeah.
typical day to us, just to let us get a bit
So
personal with you. Yeah.
my typical day involves I work in the paediatric. I'm on rotations. I work in the paediatric population at the moment, so I'm dealing with a complex caseload, working with children. My typical day involves being in either in the communities or in schools, delivering physiotherapy and block physiotherapy or doing reviews and ensuring that these little ones are continuing to grow as as healthy as they can be. And then I come back from work. I usually go for a walk or go to the gym, and then I'm grinding crypto Twitter like a loser. That is my day.
No, I don't call yourself that, but yeah. Saving lives in the day. I mean,
Nah,
is that the right term?
that's a me. It's a me.
Right. Saving lives during the day and then being the educator in the evening and maybe
Yeah,
the degen gambler after midnight.
exactly.
Right. But why did you choose like being a physiotherapist if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah. So growing up, I was very interested in science and physical education. So naturally, from that, I gravitated towards biology. And through my undergraduate degree, I studied sport and exercise science. And as a master's degree, I studied a MSc in physiotherapy. because it's kind of where my interest lay when I was growing up. I was very interested in uh, how the human body reacts, how it's affected by pain, and you know, I don't think I was probably as interested in different conditions when I was little, but just how things can affect different people and how you can get the best out of you. I was very interested in that. That's how I took that pathway.
Such a wholesome guy, man. You should change your name, man. Crypto wholesome.
I was sure,
Right.
sure.
Okay, maybe just some rapid fire questions that I'm just gonna think of
Okay,
off the top of my head, right? I had didn't prepare any of that. Like,
you could have
you
prepared.
yeah, you
Do
drink,
that
right? Do you drink?
sometimes.
What's your go-to alcohol? Wine, beer, whiskey, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Beer? Any
Yeah.
favorites?
I like Czech beer. That's really nice. I like Dutch beer. Um, I also I quite like Italian beer as well, like Moretti's or Peroni.
Oh man.
They're my favourite beers, especially on a hot summer's day without any ice in it. Butt cheeks, you say.
Right. We
Yeah,
have this
I
inside
think
joke.
that I think that it's a big no-no. That is
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, you heard that, but ice in beer is a no-go. I mean, I don't know what the others think. Maybe they can share what are their thoughts about having ice in their
Yeah,
beer, right? Maybe it's a location thing, age thing. I don't know.
reply
You
below.
yeah, let
We'll
us
find.
know, man.
Yeah,
But
we'll
yeah,
find that.
are you an
If you
indoors or outdoors person? Let's go next question.
outdoors,
Outdoors, right?
definitely
Like you
outdoors.
mentioned, you like to go on walks.
Yeah, I actually do a lot of my work on crypto Twitter, like or coming up with ideas when I'm out on walks. That's kind of big inspiration. A time for like reflection and collecting thoughts, researching and writing. I do that all while I'm walking. I must look very strange just looking down on my phone, but yeah, that's what's going on.
But yeah, I think that works, right? Sometimes I go for runs to de-stress as well. Like it's just good to go out, um, sweat it
You
out,
like,
get a change of scenery as well, get
yeah,
inspiration from there.
yeah, for
And
sure,
yeah,
definitely.
definitely, yeah, relatable. Okay, since you like outdoors, right? Maybe you can think, would you prefer the mountains or like the beach by the sea?
Good question. I am by the sea. I love the sea, but I'm also got that Norwegian heritage, so I love the mountains as well. I like both. I like both. I love the mountain
If
landscape. If you can have some mountains by the sea, then we'd be onto a winner.
that would be amazing, right? Like a true pirate, right? Live by the sea, and then your
Yeah,
Norwegian mountain
yeah.
side of you,
Viking. Yeah, Vikings are kind of
Viking.
the aren't they? So they are the original pirates.
Nice, nice. Okay, I can't really think of any more questions right now, man. Totally unprepared for this.
It's okay. No, it's good questions.
Yeah.
Do you like cats?
Sorry.
Are you a dog or cat person?
Oh, I'm actually a cat person. I know you
Yeah,
have a
that's
dog, right? Yeah.
yes.
I mean, maybe you can be a cat person who has a dog. I don't know.
No.
But yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I think it's pretty common to be a dog person. I mean, more people that I know are dog people compared to cat people. How about you?
yeah,
Right?
you got to love dogs.
I mean,
Uncondi-
I don't hate,
uncondi-
I don't hate
un-
dogs.
unconditional love, man. Unconditional love.
I don't hate
Uh,
dogs. I just prefer cats,
fine,
right? Because
fine.
like you don't have to. I mean, you have to give a lot of attention to a dog, right? You have to walk it. You have to like, give attention to it every day or something. Cats, you
Yeah,
just like leave them alone,
yeah,
right? You can disturb them once in a while, too
yeah.
much, and
And
then
then
they'll scratch you or something. It's low
yeah, and
maintenance,
if someone else feeds them, then they'll forget about you in a heartbeat.
right? But I believe they will come back. I mean, they have. I don't know, I saw some cute videos of cats like snuggling their owners or something.
Yeah,
Pretty cute. I mean,
yeah,
I probably
sure,
will get a cat in the future. I always wanted one, but not yet.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a cool animal.
it is definitely. But are you planning to get another dog in future or something?
No. There's lots of work.
Right, exactly like what I just said. It's too much work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah, walkies, biscuits, cuddles. Got to do it all.
Right. Okay, maybe let's end this off, right? It's getting a bit awkward. Running out of questions. Mm,
So,
let's maybe just we've been chatting for a bit past half an hour now, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want me to
Maybe
recommend people? All right.
maybe we can wrap off with what are your like biggest lessons or biggest takeaways in crypto?
Um, don't just trust a influencer. Don't ape in just with what one person says, including me. Don't just go buy something that I've researched. Don't do that. You'll fool if you do. Got to do your own. Got to do your own research, and I hope that I provide the tools to actually let you go and do that. That's kind of what I want to do with giving you those tools. My biggest lesson from crypto would be to hold your keys and practice safe self custody.
Right. I think there's a very popular saying in crypto, right? Don't trust, verify, which
Yes,
is
for sure.
yeah, good summary of what you just mentioned. I mean,
Yeah.
anything else you want to add on that maybe we have not covered that you feel like you want to share more about yourself?
Um, I'm happy with where what we've chatted about so far. But I do want to give suggestions for like guests coming on, and I think if I give the suggestions, I think they have to come on.
Hey,
I
that's
think
a
that's
very
how.
good idea. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So I want to see Nick Drackon come onto your podcast or your show. I want to see him shill his amazing product in Revolut. I want to
Nice.
see I want to see Juan come on if he can give up some time. I want to see Juan come on. Phantom
Found
genius
from the
publisher.
Phantom Foundation.
Yes,
Right.
indeed. I want to see him come on, and we're going to tag him and we're going to light his notifications up down below. And I also want to see Lynn come on. We need to hear Lynn's voice.
Right. Lin, I think a
Right.
lot of people want to hear Lin's voice.
Yes, so we need to get Lynn on, and if she's being too much of a wimp to come on, then we're going to have some beef, crypto Twitter beef
Oh
for
shit.
sure.
You hear that, Lin?
But,
I mean, if you're listening until the very end, I hope you do. You gotta do it.
yeah, bring it on. No more your mum jokes. They're so 2014. Sort it
Yeah.
out.
She's gonna come on and go on with like your mom jokes or something.
100%. That's
Right.
all you'll
Or
get.
maybe what if Lin was actually a male all along?
Uh,
Right.
e- Even better.
Right. All right. Thank you so much, Hoem, for coming on to this being my first guest. It's
Yeah, no problem.
very special to me. Very honored to have you
Yeah,
here. Thank you for the time, right? I mean, we've been talking
yeah,
about like what, yeah, 40 minutes now, I think.
yeah.
It's That's about all. I think we can wrap this up. Thank you guys for
Uh,
listening as well. Do check out Hoem's Twitter link down below. Comment who you would like to see next and what other topics that you would like to hear about.